Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the improv interview show here at an undisclosed location somewhere in not Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, as we've figured out, but actually Indianapolis, Indiana. And I am Michael Curtis, Director of Product Development for DCC, and I am joined by some familiar voices and faces. And who the hell are you people, and why are you here?
Hey everybody, I'm Chris Doyle. I am the director of 5E product development for Goodman Games, and we have the honor of interviewing whoever this is.
Hi, my name is Joseph Goodman of Goodman Games, publisher. And I think we're just going to chat for now.
Yeah, I think we're just gonna
until we
talk some silly.
Strap yourselves in, folks. We have no idea where this ride is going. No.
So yeah, we're tired. We're 3 days in. Of course, we got here a couple days early, and
We're 5 days in, really.
well, yeah. And everybody's exhausted. Clearly, we're out of practice and running cons.
Well, that's the thing, when you don't do anything for 2 years and then you get back into this, it's like, wow. It's like, there's no preparing for this. There's no preparing for the overwhelmness. Even when Gen Con comes once every year, it still always takes you back a little bit. But this definitely has been a little bit more, and it's been pleasantly busy. It really has. I guess none of us really knew what to expect.
Yeah.
But I know I didn't expect it to be this busy and crowded. So. Yay.
Yeah, I was going to say, if we're out of practice for running cons, we're doing a pretty good job of it. You know what I mean? We were out of quick start rules Thursday. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's been nuts. It's been nonstop. Like I heard attendance is officially down, but you know it in the crowds of the hall, I think, but not necessarily in the dealer's hall. But yeah, we brought 1,000 DCC quick start rules, which I thought would last the weekend, and it made it until Thursday at 2 p.m.
Nice.
And we have a coupon book, and the coupon, Gen Con coupon book for the DCC soft cover at a special price, and those are gone as of, I don't know, a couple hours ago.
Yep, early this morning. Starting out Saturday morning, we had 16 copies left.
Okay, yeah.
So those are long gone.
So lots of new fans will hopefully be coming our way soon. It's great.
Yeah, that's it.
Hear that? There's somebody going home with 1,000 quick start rules. That's it.
Yeah, we're either going to get a whole bunch of new fans next year, or landfills are going to get filled next year. So one or the other.
Or else there's some sort of ritual we don't know about.
That could be as
1,000
well.
books.
Yes, really thick books. So
What's on eBay? What are all these rules? Gen Con exclusives.
Yeah.
So we're having a blast. It is great. Obviously, this is our opportunity to interact with the fans and the community, and we have not had a chance to do that outside of little boxes on a computer. So this is great.
As we say, into the little box.
As we live,
right?
yep,
Yeah,
there we go.
greetings, little box people.
We're not here. We're actually interacting with the fans.
Yeah, good point.
So I want to start off. I do want to ask you a question. When was your first Gen Con? Fan,
that's a great
whatever.
question.
Yeah, what was your very first, or in the ballpark if you don't remember exactly what year?
Yeah, I actually almost got arrested, so this is a good story.
Oh, we got to hear this.
So,
Yep.
I didn't do it. So,
Wait, are the statute of limitations passed?
pretty sure it was in college. That was like at least 4 years ago. We had a family reunion somewhere that was like where was it? I can't remember.
Probably where Gen Con was, I'm guessing.
Gen Con was like sort of on the way.
Okay.
This was
on
back
the
in
way.
the Milwaukee days, I believe. So I went to school in Pennsylvania. I cannot remember why Milwaukee would be on the way to anything from Pennsylvania.
It's not really. It's
I know.
about 700 miles from there.
Yeah. But anyway, we had a family reunion somewhere. Excuse me.
Love you, Milwaukee.
Oh, yeah, you're cool.
We miss you.
Yeah, yeah. I only went to the Milwaukee Gen Con, I think twice. This was one of them.
Okay.
Mostly what I remember was I had some crazy itinerary that involved like the getting out of college and then doing the family reunion and then having to circle back. There were like several stops that I worked into a long itinerary, and that was back when I had an 85 Dodge Diplomat named Phoebe that my great uncle had given me, which was my college car. So me and Phoebe did the drive, and Phoebe was a huge honking big, like one of those like American made like big cars, so you could I could stretch out and sleep in the seats,
Nice.
And I didn't have any money because I was in college, so I was like, I'm not gonna bother with a hotel room. So my plan was to sleep in my car, which is always a sound plan, as we've learned from Lovecraft novels. So I think I was on the way to Gen Con, and my memory is that I would just drive until I got tired, then I'd find a place to sleep. And I parked somewhere and just went to sleep in the back of my car. And then I woke up in the middle of the night with boom, boom, boom on my window and a light shining in my eyes. And it wasn't aliens, it was actually cops. But I apparently parked on the same cul-de-sac where they discovered a body a week earlier. So they staked it out.
Oh my gosh.
So I was just like, no, I don't know anything about the body. I was just trying to sleep. So, and it was, like midnight or whatever, and I was sound asleep. So they let me go after questioning and just told me to go sleep somewhere else.
What?
I don't remember where I slept, but I slept
Not in
somewhere
their
else.
town. Not in their town.
Right.
Go sleep one town over.
Right.
Exactly.
This is how every episode of the Dukes of Hazzard ended. Like, once you get across the county line,
Yep.
everything is fine.
Yep.
It's like,
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And so, any idea what year that was? What was that? That was.
It was Milwaukee. Well, I left college. I graduated in '97, so it must have been
Okay.
like 95, 96, 97,
Okay.
something
Somewhere
like that.
right in there, okay.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember Milwaukee. I remember going to the art museum in Milwaukee. That like crazy like sail-shaped thing, if I remember right.
Yep.
Yeah, that's. mostly
I
what
did that
remember.
one year. So
Okay,
we did
yeah.
I think we ended up doing everything to see in Milwaukee, I think. By the time, Gen Con was out of Milwaukee, we'd hit all 6 of the big things to see.
The cultural attractions?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Pabst Brewery, all
Is that a
those
cultural
things.
attraction?
Yeah, so there's a chocolate factory. There's some good stuff. So, but yeah, those are fun times. Milwaukee was great. It was funny. The very first Gen Con I went to was '87.
Okay.
And they'd only been in Milwaukee a couple years, and the city clearly had not realized that gamers do have money also, and that lots of them coming to downtown was a good thing. When we were first there, places closed, like eating establishments closed at 5 p.m. And there were gamers everywhere. I mean, they were banging on the door, and they were like, "Nope, we're closed." And there were like literally 20 people wanted to go into a pizza place, and they just shut the doors and wouldn't let them in. And it was really weird. It was kind of like they didn't want us there. And then, like 2 or 3 years later, all of a sudden, there's banners in the airport. Welcome Gen Con. Everybody in the mall had specials, and please come eat here. Extended hours and everything. They figured out, hey, these thousands of people, they have money.
Yeah.
And they want to spend it here. And it was like, and then all of a sudden, it was like a love fest. They embraced us 100%. So.
No, I remember
fascinating.
first year they came to Indy. I feel like I was here the first year at Indy.
Yep.
And that was the year where all the restaurants ran out of food. Because
Yes.
they also had
Yes.
not anticipated it, and
Yep.
they like just burned through their whole weekend supply by like Friday night, and realized same thing.
Yeah, we had an Origins. I forget what year it was. Might have been the year I ran into you, which would have been 2004. And the Wendy's 2 blocks away ran out of French fries on Friday night, and they had no more French fries the rest of the weekend.
Yeah.
It's like, how does a fast food place run out of French fries? It's like, well, you bring a few thousand gamers down, and they're not used to that, and that's how you run out of French fries. It's like, but everybody's like, hey, these baked potatoes are not bad. It's like they almost taste like French fries, sort of.
Do you remember the Wendy's Super Bar?
I do.
Do you remember that?
No, that was probably before my time. My first Gen Con was 2012. No, 2013.
And that's how it all happened, folks. It's hard to believe.
That's
Wow.
how you make tuna.
Apparently the battery died, guys, so we're back with a new battery. Mike's battery. What were we talking about?
We talk about Gen Cons, first
Yes.
Gen Cons, and running out of I don't know how
Running out of
it's about-
food.
about running out of Wendy's running out of French fries.
Right.
It's
Yep.
Yeah.
a riveting conversation.
It is. I think now the restaurants in downtown areas, when there's big shows like this, I think they get it now, and they are definitely more accommodating. And it definitely, and kudos to Indianapolis. Indianapolis is a great little city. Lots of awesome places to eat. Fairly easy to get around, walking around and everything. So Indy, let's hope we stay here for another 20 years because this is good.
It's crazy how busy it is, though. I was trying to get lunch, and we were going to go to the food trucks because,
Oh yeah,
food
forget
trucks
that.
fast.
Yeah.
And there's like 40 people deep line in
Yeah.
every food truck.
And there's like 40 food trucks.
Right.
So,
yeah. It was incredible.
I haven't even been over by the food trucks this entire weekend.
Yeah.
I got a saltine in my bag. You want it?
No,
Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, the nice thing is the food trucks deflect all the other places. So if you do go a block or two that way, it's like the places aren't busy because everybody's at the food trucks.
We
But-
finally, we walked a block past.
Yep.
We still had to wait like 20 minutes for a seat, but finally
Yeah.
found a place that wasn't 40 deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just say it's Saturday at Gen Con. I have not had steak and shake once, so I'm doing
good.
well as far as
Doing
I'm
well.
That's very good.
Because
That's a
like
win.
the first
Yes.
couple of Gen Cons, it was like
That's all it
steak
was.
and shake was every meal because usually like you have like 45 minutes to break
Yep.
from the booth, and it's just down the way a little
Yep.
bit, and it was cheap.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
I've had Chick-fil-A twice, feel like I've had pizza twice, like two like actual good hamburgers. I think that's my meal count so far.
I have eaten more chicken than any man's ever seen this weekend. I will tell you that. It was like we were looking at the bar menu. It was like, chicken. Hey, look, more chicken. There's some chicken.
It's a lot of
you
chicken.
Get the chicken salad with extra chicken.
They have like 6 ingredients, and they just reconfigure it.
You have the world's biggest chicken. Slowly
They're carving off like one wing at a time.
Yep.
some sort of chicken lich.
I think you're onto something here.
Yeah.
The dread chicken
That's
lich.
why you pay us.
Yep.
Yes, I
Revenge
know.
of the Chicken Lich.
This won't be quite as good once it goes in print, but right now it sounds
Yeah.
great.
Right.
I think it would make it would make a good X-crawl adventure.
The Koopa the chicken lich.
The chicken lich.
With the chicken lich. That's good. We like that. So write that. Print it. Put it on the schedule.
Somebody write that down.
Yeah.
So what else is going on? Wise?
Not much. We have our seminar later on. We're going to talk about how to make adventures even better by including chicken liches. So,
Or not.
or not.
Yeah.
Maybe that will make them better. So yeah, if you're doing a chicken lich, no, we got that. So somebody trademark that.
Better gaming through man bats.
There you go. Oh yeah, I hear we have a man-bat story. I think there's one now.
Okay. All right. I feel this, we'll turn this into a sports show. We're so sorry. All right. Man bat versus chicken lich. Go.
Oh, that's good, man. Yeah, it's fun. We should really do these on Thursday, I think. If people want serious content.
Yes.
No, I think.
Or Sunday, right before booth breakdown, or right after.
You're right.
No,
No.
not after booth breakdown. I don't want to sit that close to anybody after booth breakdown.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, little known, well, actually, probably a well-known secret, but Gen Con pays for air conditioning when guests are in the hall. But prior to that, for exhibitor setup, which is basically until like Wednesday night, I think they turn it on. And the instant the hall closes at 4 p.m. on Sunday, the lights dim and the AC turns off. So for those of us putting away, books to pack back to the warehouse, after an hour or two, it's even less fun.
Which is funny because the last I checked, we pay for that booth space, and the attendees don't.
I guess we don't get the
We
airspace.
don't pay for the air conditioning.
Yeah, apparently we don't pay for the air. We pay for the floor. Apparently.
I know.
I didn't. Is Lou Zaki here this year?
I heard there's a game science booth. I haven't made my way over to it yet.
Okay.
I don't know.
Because I remember the one year I think Dieter and I and I think Julian, we ended up packing up Lou while everything else was going on there.
Yeah, Wayne helped out one year too. Yeah, we should check,
We were
see how
loading
he's
up
doing.
We pulling up Lou's van, which is a vintage van.
That van is incredible.
Vintage 1984 wedge van. That's it.
It's like a Toyota that they couldn't have sold to. It's like when you think vintage van, this is like one you've only seen in like import Japanese Hot Wheels, because it was a model that like never made it into America, except for Luzaki's. It's like one of those vans you just hardly ever see.
Oh wow, that's cool. That's a great transition. I hear there's a van here this year.
Yeah. So, I'm sure you guys know we brought a Wizard van. Wayne Snyder's been working on the Wizard van for close to 7 years, and about 90% of the work was done in the last 3 weeks.
It's been busy.
It's been busy. He realized, this is really going to happen. And the van looks incredible. It's in the gaming area in the Lucas Oil Stadium, so if you haven't seen it, go by. But it's an actual vintage 70s van. It's got an awesome Tome of Horrors piece of art in the back, and the interior is completely refurbished. Got a leather couch, psychedelic upholstery. It's got like the disco ball thing. And we're running games out of the back of the van and giving out van candy if you'd like some. So.
Yes.
Not bad for something that 6 months ago we were referring to as the tetanus van. So definitely a lot of work has been put on it.
That was my favorite joke when we were planning this. I said to Wayne, I was like, we got to figure out the whole COVID situation. Do you wear masks or make sure people have gotten their COVID shots? He's like, forget COVID. Have they had tetanus shots? Have you seen this thing? So, low probability of tetanus, folks. Low probability.
Very low.
It's safe now. It's safe
Yes.
now. Wayne has done a little work. And Harley and I were talking about this. I think we are the only professional game design company who has like a fabricator kind of on staff.
Actually, at the booth yesterday, we have these spinner racks of modules, and one of them, somehow it broke. It was like timber, and it came down. But I just texted Wayne, and he came over with duct tape and cardboard and put it back together. He came to me with a dice tube. He's like, "Can I sacrifice this for the greater good?" And somehow he used the dice tube to reconfigure something. So he can build just about anything.
Which is great. Obviously the ziggurat, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I heard there was some I don't know if they're YouTubers or podcasters or whatever, but they were going by filming along the hallway, and they came to us and they said, "Whoa!" and they saw that, and they stopped and they actually filmed, I would say, a little bit more, because now that makes a statement, was what the guy said.
What was
And
the
it's like,
statement it made?
Yeah, that's the thing.
yeah, I'm not sure what the statement was, but he was like, it's like, whoa, get a better shot of that right there. And it was awesome. And we've already heard a couple people saying, it's like, oh yeah, it's like, we love the ziggurat because it's a landmark now. We know how to find other booths based on where the ziggurat is. It's like, oh, it's 3 down from the ziggurat. So,
I literally think there's a reason that we keep getting that 1/4 by the Paizo booths, is because we just become a landmark. You know, this is I've heard more than once. I'm like, honey, I'm over here by the Goodman booth. Yeah, look up with the giant, the giant guy with the mustache and the stripy pants. You know, find this. No.
yeah,
That's great.
Because there is not another dude with stripy pants up near the ceiling. I mean, it's just all like company logos and names and stuff. So it definitely sticks out, which is awesome.
You're making me think about our company, our staff uniform for next year.
Stop.
Stop thinking about that. Maybe after Gen Con, when you've had a normal diet for a few days and enough sleep, then maybe you should be thinking about staff wardrobe and and
stripy
stuff like
pants.
that.
You know?
Yeah, stripy pants. That's great.
Like Kerouac said, write drunk, edit sober. So we'll need to do some heavy editing after this. All right. No.
Stripy pants and mustaches. If we start in like May.
In May, we can pull this off. We can do 90% of the work the last couple of weeks right before Gen Con.
I don't think that works with mustaches.
Yeah, we're not gonna
Faster!
Yes, we're not gonna hear another word about striped pants and mustaches until probably July 15th next year.
I did.
And then
What,
all
you
of a
haven't
sudden,
been growing your mustache?
and then all of a sudden, oh, guess what we forgot to do? Stripy pants and mustaches. We gotta get on that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I do think there's room on the ziggurat to add, not literal flames, but some sort of like, Wayne was talking about like a fan and some of this like fabric.
You know,
I mean, it's
well,
wood. Theoretically,
yes,
could add
we
little-
could do it once. One time we could do
Flames
literal
go up,
flames.
guys. It would totally work.
One time. Then we would have to, then we need to look into step pyramids or something.
Possible, yes.
Yeah.
They make,
Sensible, no.
a couple years ago, Gen Con now makes you buy insurance, as part of the booth cost. So like, I'm paying for the insurance already.
In case somebody gets, if the ziggurat falls
If
on
the
somebody,
ziggurat goes
or a
up the
spinner
road.
rack falls on somebody.
I know.
So, oh wow.
No, but it would be cool to have like one of those like, fabric flamey things, and was I talking to you about Clark Ashton Smith and City of the Singing Flame?
Probably not, but I'm familiar with it.
Anyway, remember that story?
It's one of those things. Is how many Clark Ashton Smith conversations have I had in the last 10 years since joining the company? It's like more than I had in the previous 30 years of my life. It's
Probably,
like,
yeah. That's right. We were talking about a different Clark Ashton Smith last night.
Yes, we were talking about Black Diamonds.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, anyway, so on this one, if you don't know that story, it's a great story. It's got this alien realm with like this big, basically green like butane flame, although it's described much more evocatively, and these like moth people who kind of just toss themselves to their death, as I recall.
I don't recall anybody wearing stripy pants, though. I mean,
Well,
that's where we were going with that.
you must have read the unedited version.
Oh, okay.
But I'm thinking for the top of the ziggurat, we could do a flame, but not just any flame. But I got to reread that story, and we should get one that somehow is reminiscent
And
of that.
sings and attracts people. Well, no, that's it. We
That
just
would
need
be
the
the
one that
key.
attracts people and forces them to spend money. That's
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
We just have to do that once, and then. I mean, what? It was like 60,000 people here. We can get them all to come by and drop, like $100 each.
There you go. Yeah.
That's it.
Well, welcome to Goodman Island in Aruba. That's it.
That would be good.
But anyway, the booth's awesome. The band's awesome. The gaming's awesome. The tournament's been really popular. We're doing a 0-level tournament this year.
Yep.
Lots of new players in it, which is really good, and lots of experienced returning players too. And it turns out the tactics are different. So we've heard some of the returning folks who were experienced with the prior tournaments are, adapting to 0-level, which is good.
Yeah. No, I've heard a lot of really good thing. I think they said they did 198 people have run through the tournament, and they estimate that probably about half of them were pretty much inexperienced with DCC. So,
Wow.
so that's great. I mean, that's what you really want to do. So, I think it's going great. Excellent feedback for those folks who don't know. We have our tournament over in the Lucas Oil Field this year, and everybody loves it. Everybody, and it's awesome. Where our booth is located, it's actually like a straight shot. You go out the door, straight down, and you're there. I mean, it's a little bit of a walk, but it's not convoluted. It's easy to describe to people where they need to go. And it's working out great. There's the sound, the way the sound diffuses in there is great. The game masters, the players, they all love it. So there's a lot of room to spread out in. So I think we'll be in the Lucas Oil Field Stadium coming next year.
Arena.
Whatever. It's because people are calling it different stuff, and they were like, we should call it. Was it Goodman? No, Flask of Oil Stadium. We should call it.
I like that.
They should rename it for Gen Con and put a big banner on the outside of
That's
it.
a good
Flask
idea.
of Oil Stadium.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so it's going great. So the tournament's been a wild success. So yeah, everything's coming together. Everything's coming together, all in a very controlled fashion. There's been no mess ups. Everything's been
No issues whatsoever. It's
none
kind of
whatsoever.
amazing how
Yeah.
perfectly it's all
Almost
gone.
as if it's been a master plan for years or something. All
Yeah,
things in cohesion
it's almost
for
as
that
if we had 2 years to plan it this way.
time. And 2 years of that planning took place in the last
3
6
weeks.
months.
Yeah.
Well, actually, but seriously, folks, Jen Brinkman deserves a lot of credit. She actually
Yes.
planned 95% of this event, and she's done a bang-up job of keeping us all
Yep.
organized and on top of things and putting together probably the most complicated Gen Con we've ever done.
Probably,
We've, been
definitely.
expanding the booth,
Yeah.
the gaming area. Now there's the van. Now there's the ziggurat. There's so many components that didn't used to be there.
Yeah.
It's really
Well, your one-page flyer is 4 pages double-sided,
Yeah,
so
good
that tells you just how much stuff we have going on.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, and that flyer is awesome too. Just the fact that it's got everything in there. It explains to the fans, kind of in a snippety kind of way. Like, here's this tournament. Here's where you go for that. We got the wizard van here. We got the booth here. Little maps and everything. It's excellent. I mean, there's no excuse for people not to be able to find us. Even though we're spread out all over the place, it's just great. A lot of thought and planning went into this. We had Twitch meetings internally where we were talking to the staff on how to do things in the booth. It all came together. Mostly in the last 3 weeks, but again, it's great, and we have so many awesome volunteers.
Yeah.
We could not do it with all the volunteers, and as we get those new people in, especially the new people this year, a couple years, they're probably going to be volunteers because they're going to get into the community, they're going to get involved, and that's what it's all about.
And after the ceremony tonight at midnight, they'll get their secret names.
Exactly, yeah,
And then
and their
they'll be-
stripy pants. So
Yes, yes.
we'll get their sizes for their stripy pants.
The other cool thing you reminded me of is that I think earlier on this channel you had a chance to see some of the artists be interviewed. One of the things we do at Goodman Games is a lot of the art and the products we do is physical, real art. It's actually made with ink and pencil and paper and paint and canvas. And so we have in the Oil Stadium a couple panels of artist panels actually displaying original art, including some of the original paintings that Doug did for various modules and so on. It's cool. It's really cool. And it made us start thinking, now that we have that much space, we're actually talking internally. Do we come back next year and actually put on a more formal art show, all the
Yeah.
covers of DCC or something?
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of room here to make it really special.
Yeah, there really is.
Matt Hildebrand was on earlier this afternoon. We were talking about how they've been doing, portfolio evaluations over the course of the con, and people have been doing, and it's something they kind of want to do, at cons down the way. So next year, come on, if you want to join, if you want to have fun and wear stripy pants, start putting together your art portfolio, and 2023, show up and find Big Bald Matt, and maybe you too could wear stripy pants inside the ziggurat.
I know. For sure, yeah.
Awesome.
Cool. Is that all we have to talk about?
I think so. I think we hit everything. Yeah.
I think we've talked about everything over the course of the last few days, for the seminars and 2 weeks of two, I don't know, however long, 2 days of these interviews and everything.
Yeah.
Unless we have anything we want to stealth announce now for the 4 people watching this,
Mike, how's your mother?
Don't you-
No, I mean, legitimately, is she doing okay?
Yeah.
Everything cool?
Yeah, she's doing good. She's gonna outlive all of us.
You think so?
She's the woman. She's like in her late 70s. I gotta tell her to get off the roof. She's up there doing. She's up there
Seriously?
like doing roof work.
Oh my
She's
gosh.
a crazy Scandinavian woman. That's it.
She actually does her own roof work? That's like dangerous.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's what I say.
Did I tell you about my one-armed uncle?
Oh, I've heard about the one arm. I don't think they've heard about your one arm uncle, however.
Did I tell you?
I have not.
Okay, so
Okay, have you heard, has the man batter? No, the man batter hasn't heard about
So,
one.
hi, Uncle Don, if you're watching. I have an uncle who used to run a botanical garden in Florida, in Gainesville, Florida. So, if you're ever in Gainesville, go to the Kanapaha Botanical Gardens. Great place. It's actually an awesome botanical garden. But years ago, he had a bad encounter with an alligator and actually lost his arm to the alligator. So the alligator got his arm. Yeah, no, for real.
For real.
This is for real. But Uncle Don is a wild man, and on many levels, not just because he tangled with an alligator. And technically, he won because the alligator died and he just lost an arm. So, you know, he came out
Did
ahead.
it choke on his arm? Why did it die? Or did they shoot it?
They went out and shot it.
Okay.
What's crazy is
because they will die when you shoot them in the head.
Is that how it works?
Yeah.
Well,
Usually.
in this case, it didn't. What was his name? They had named the alligator.
Chompy.
No, it'll come to me. They had, so it's the botanical gardens, and like Uncle Don is a very, you know, he's ecologically minded and doesn't like to, you know, use pesticides and stuff like that. So I remember one year they had an armadillo infestation. And,
Back to the armadillos again. That's it.
no, this is for real though. You're right though. This is kind of ironic.
It is ironic.
So it was just like, wait, it's Florida also, you get armadillos. But instead of doing like poison or whatever, what he would do is he built these little wire traps and he would trap the armadillos. And every morning he'd go out to the pond where the gators lived and he'd chuck the armadillos. And he said it was like, you know, they land and then it's like, you know, Jaws where the water calms and you know, the alligator comes up and eats the armadillo. So, but that's how he got rid of the armadillo infestation. Unfortunately, it resulted in more alligators. So a couple of years later,
If I can interrupt you, there's a whole biological principle behind that, by the way.
oh, you and your science.
Yes, science.
He's a biologist.
Go on,
for those who
no.
don't
Go
know.
on, no,
Yeah,
please.
so, exactly. Yeah, you make alligator food, you get more alligators.
Exactly.
So-
Take the food away, you get less alligators.
Yes.
Well, I'll put notice that Chris still has both arms too.
Yes,
I
yes.
know.
And then take the food away, and then it looks for other food, arms.
Yeah. So a giant alligator moved in, and they named it. And I can't remember the name, but my aunt, my uncle's wife, kept saying you need to like kill that alligator because this one giant alligator moved in and ate all the turtles, then started eating all the smaller alligators, and they ended up with one giant alligator. And then one day my uncle went out and he would do work in the pond, and you always locate the alligator and then obviously avoid it. He went to lunch and came back.
Yeah, that's what I remember. Yeah, like you knew where the alligator was, and then you go away.
He made the one mistake, which is one day he didn't relocate it. He assumed
Right.
it was
It's
the
like
same
if you
spot.
go to lunch, you come back, the alligator's not guaranteed to be where it was earlier in the day.
Yeah, and so he stepped on it, and it lurched upward and defended himself. And yeah, so anyway, he lost his arm. But his friend who works at the gardens always carried like a pistol because there are like mountain lions and whatever.
Oh,
There's just
yeah.
things. And it had never been discharged before, but he ran out and actually shot the alligator, like emptied the clip into the alligator, and the alligator was not wounded. Like its hide was sufficiently thick that a pistol couldn't hurt it.
Wow.
So they had to get the state troopers who like trussed it up and then hit it with a shotgun and finally killed it.
And you said like when the alligator bit his arm, like it wasn't like like he wasn't like by the first aid station. Like, didn't he have to drive himself back like with one arm, like a stick shift or something like that?
Yes,
It was-
Uncle Don is like the man of steel. He's the friendliest guy you'll ever meet. Really fun, but like made of steel. So what actually happened was, the way gators kill you is they roll you, right? So they grab your arm, they pull you under, then they drown you. And
Yep.
he's a biologist, so he knew this. He's actually a herpetologist. So he actually ripped his own arm off so he wouldn't get drowned. So he saw what was happening and leveraged against the alligator and pulled his own arm off. Then nobody was around, so he walked to the golf cart, drove himself to the gift shop, dialed 911, wait
gift
till they
shop.
got there, and then lay down on the stretcher and then fainted.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Wow.
So then the state troopers showed up. They killed the gator because they tried to get the arm back to reattach it, but they weren't able to reattach it. That's how they.
I'm not going
I
to
think
that
that's
thing.
standard
Hey,
operating
one arm.
procedure. They always try to get
They
the
flip
limb
through the
back.
manual, they're like, gator, gator,
It's
gator,
like,
gator.
yeah, get the limb back. Okay, it's been like 7 hours. Maybe we should just move on to step 3.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Yeah,
wow.
but going back to roofing.
Fascinating. Written back to.
So,
Don't need to worry about gators up there.
but
The Tomb of Horrors was in this complex.
yeah. But when you have one arm, generally what you would avoid is climbing on ladders and roofing. But not for Uncle Don. So a couple of years later, sorry Don, I have to tell this story if you're watching. He broke his remaining arm because he was hanging up the Christmas lights at the gardens with one arm from a ladder, and he slipped. Sorry, man. Just like,
God.
but he's a daredevil. Because the other crazy part is, as he recovered, he never got rid of the stick shift that he has. So he drives a stick shift one-handed.
I knew there was a stick shift involved in this story. I remember
Yes.
that one.
And you'll see him driving, like, and then he lets go of the wheel, changes gears, and then comes back.
We've all been there before, driving a stick shift,
Yeah,
by
but
the
you
way.
got 2 arms, you know?
No,
And,
I
like-
know, but no, I'm saying where it's you're doing this with
Yeah.
the other one, and like, driving over in Ireland when they put it on the other side, and you're all like confused. You're like, wait a minute, it's like, isn't it down? It's not down here, it's over here, and you're like, ah.
Yeah.
So, oh my gosh, that is.
And he'll talk on the phone, so he'll be like this. You know?
And he's like, oh my god.
Yes.
So I think the more of the story is we have to have Uncle Don at Gen Con next year because I think the people are going to demand it. So I think we could have him at the booth, and I
He
mean
can hang
could
lights
just,
on the ziggurat.
yes, and he can just tell stories because
He's actually he's
yeah.
an amazing raconteur.
Like Disneyland, every hour on the hour, we will dress up Dieter as an alligator.
Yep.
We'll go with on a face arm. We can reenact it as this epic battle atop the ziggurat. You know?
Yes.
Wow.
He's a great storyteller. He actually, it's fun just listening to him.
Yeah,
So, like, he
I
can
can
just go
imagine.
out
People at
and
home
tell the
can't watch
story.
Elena right now. We're having so much fun.
Oh, yeah. Elena's our Twitch producer. She apparently thinks this is funny.
Yeah.
If you start hearing wheezing in a little while, we've broken Elena. That's a shame.
Which was our plan. Wow, so I'm glad we got that story in.
Yeah.
Had armadillos and everything.
How's your family doing, Chris?
Doing fine.
Yeah.
So yes, it's nice. We're good. We're quiet. Kids in college. It's all good.
That's right.
Yes.
He's like a grown-up.
He's taller than me now.
Oh, really?
So yep, he's working. He's working on Goodman Game stuff while we're here at Gen Con.
Excellent.
I admit that.
IRS,
so-
you didn't hear that.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, don't worry. We'll fill taxes out. Don't worry. He's got a real job and he's doing very well. By the way, well maybe not now this year, but his college fund is doing very well. So he has to do his taxes every year. So don't come looking for us. Yeah, no, it's cool actually. It's actually kind of fun that we're all kind of like he's only working a couple days a week and he's like, hey, can I do more stuff for you? So I'm like, oh, have I got a job for you? so it's awesome. So.
Your wife working down here at Lucas Oil, you got a son?
Yep, we put her to work too, so it's a family business. It's a family business. So no, we like it. I mean, it's just like it gives us.
You got more family work with this company than Joe does.
I know.
It does. So I'm sure they're coming. They're coming.
I got a 10-year-old and a 4-year-old. They'll be here.
They'll be here.
They'll be here sooner or later.
Yeah, exactly. So they'll be setting a booth up and breaking down. You got to practice. You got to get them. You bring some booth parts home with you, and you practice. This is
Bring
how
some
you do it.
cardboard boxes
Yeah,
home
and a
practice.
couple displays, and be like, this is how you put the books in.
Actually, it's really cool at the booth. We have a lot of people volunteering to help us, and it's been incredibly helpful. So Micah and Matt and Garrick and Alan and everybody else, thank you for all your help. But among the staff includes a number of younger folks. So
Yeah.
Haley and Evie have been helping out for years now, which is awesome. And then Tristan, James Posnell's son, actually helped out,
Yep.
and it's his first job is helping out at a Gen Con booth. Like, how cool is that?
Yeah.
Does this mean we can skip breakdown tomorrow? We let the younger folks all do it?
The young ones with all the energy.
You guys have the wisdom, though. You have to instruct them in the ways of our tribal ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's been awesome, especially just seeing. My first job was at a comic book store. I worked the sidewalk sales.
Wow.
Guess how much I got paid?
In comic books.
It was half cash, half comics.
Wow.
Guess how much it's.
What was your first job, Chris?
I was actually a dishwasher at a health food store. And then I kind of morphed into a little bit of. Oh, I got a funny story on this, man. If you want to hear, you guys want to hear some more funny stories? So anyway, so I was a dishwasher, but then I was also I unintentionally turned into kind of a short order cook. So when I was doing the dishwashing, I always wanted to be doing something. So I would get all the dishes washed, and if it was a slow night, I would sit on the counter, the steel counter where I wasn't supposed to be sitting, but I would sit on it and I'd sharpen the knives. And I would sit there with the knife and and I would sharpen that sucker for like a half hour. And that sucker was so sharp. And then I came in one day, and the cook cut his finger almost off because the knife was really sharp. And they're like, "Hey, it's like, do you want to do short order?" And I was like,
Because you injured
I was
the-
like, "Why?" It's like,
You almost killed the cook?
it's like Billy hurt his finger today. He almost took that thing clean off. He's like, "Damn, our knives are sharp." And I'm like, "Yeah, I noticed that. Those things are really sharp." It was just I was
Anything
bored.
to stop you sharpening the
Yeah.
knives.
So then I moved into that. And I started doing that, and they hired another dishwasher. And I was like, "This is awesome! I'm climbing the ladder by like sabotaging my coworkers unintentionally." So that was my first job. I made it was $3.50 an hour or $3 something an hour until I then moved to a furniture store, which I was at for like 10 years, and I made $5.50 an hour. And that was cool. Yeah, no, moving on up, I learned more than I ever need to know about furniture. I learned enough that I never want to work at a furniture store or be a salesperson in that kind of a field. I mean, we're not really salespeople, what we do here. We kind of are, but not like selling cars or furniture.
We let the product sell itself.
We do. It's a lot easier than trying to convince people and everything. So yeah, so I did that. That was $5.50 an hour. So that awesome, funny story was, I was looking for another job, and in our high school, they put up little in each classroom, they put up a little ad, $5.50 an hour, looking for a worker, at a local furniture store. So they put it up, and I was like, $5.50 an hour? That's like $2 more an hour I'm making. I'm like, that's amazing. So of course I did the logical thing. I went and took them all down. All right, and then I responded, and I called them, and I'm like, hey, come in. I took the interview, and I'm like, hey, so I'm here to interview. It's like, yeah, yeah, you're the only one who responded to this job. I'm like, yeah, well, it's okay. It's like, well, if you're interested in me, let me know. And they did. They hired me. So I'm like,
nobody else applied.
Because nobody else called and applied.
At least you didn't cut their finger off.
I didn't. So yeah. So I'm just saying, look for those little ways to get ahead in the world, folks, because sometimes you need that little extra edge. So, and I stayed there for 10 years. I had a great time there. So mostly because I could do my homework while I was working most of the time. So it was good.
You know a lot about mattresses and
I
like
do.
sofas
I
and
do.
like-
I know a lot. I could tell you some good brands, some not so good brands. Yeah. So I know way too much, but it does make buying furniture easier.
Yeah, I
So,
guess
but
so.
then I'm always like, we are not buying that. So, don't do that. Don't buy that. So yeah. So that was my background. Yeah, furniture and aquatic biology. It's an interesting mix. So.
Wait, Mike, what was your first job? Or early jobs?
I grew up on an island, so my first job, I was a deckhand on a ferry.
Are you for real?
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, so to this day, I can still tie a cleat. It's been a long time since I had to throw a line on a piling as we were coming in
Yeah.
to secure everything. But yeah, that was the first job I ever had. Only fell off the dock like 2 or 3 times.
You're hired.
Fell as the ferry was coming in, was almost crushed to death between the ferry and the dock. But I could scamper out in time.
Yeah.
Just because the captains were all drunk, college students. They were all hung over all the time.
So you were like a high school student, and when you made it to college, you got to be captain?
Yeah, that was pretty much how it worked. I said I didn't hang around long enough to be captain, but yeah, that was my first job. I spent a summer or 2 doing that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Wow, do you know how to do all those like sailor's knots, like the?
No, I can't. I can't do all the complex one, but I can. I can tie a cleat, and I can do that really fast, and untie and make sure a boat doesn't drift away. Which is that's like the most important thing about being a deckhand. It's like, if you lose the boat, they don't ask you to come back to work the next morning. That's it.
Yeah, our company used to. We used to ask them back. There's several times when I left staff with a boat and they were doing work, and then I'd come back an hour later, and I'm like, you didn't do anything. It's like, yeah, it's like the boat. It's like it drifted away, and it's like we had to wait for it to get to the other side of the reservoir, and then we had to walk around and get it and bring it back, and I'm like, wow. Anyway, we didn't fire them though, so.
I think that's probably cause for termination.
Probably. So.
You gotta find somebody else who wants to wait around in the muck.
Exactly. Yeah. Trust me. Yeah.
Well, Chris put up all these flyers looking for something. For some reason, only one guy responded.
Yeah, exactly. That was it.
the
For
guy
some
coming
reason.
from the boat, but
For some reason,
what
we had a
can
hard
you
time.
do?
We had a hard time hiring people for some reason.
It's really funny. Well, I worked for Cheap Thrills Comics.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
that was
Sounds like it lived up to his name. But
Yes, it did. So it was in Little 5 Points in Atlanta a long time ago. They first started out. Now I'm old and wise to understand what happened. But they were first called Kamikaze Comics, and they were next to Seven Onda, which was the health food store if you're from Atlanta. And then mysteriously they switched locations and changed names, and they moved like half a block down. Now, of course, I realize they probably declared bankruptcy or something, and changed names. But it was owned by a guy named John Whalen, who was dating the mother of this guy I went to middle school with. And mostly what I learned about him was he was really hairy, because the kid I went to middle school hated the fact that John would take a shower and there'd be hair all over the bathroom, So,
Getting everything this
so
time.
anyway, one day I went to school, and my friend Sean, he was like, I got a job at the comic book store. I was like, that is so cool, man. How'd you get a job? He's like, I just asked for it. So then I went in the next week. I was like, can I have a job? And he's like, yes. And so he would run sidewalk sales during the festivals. And so he hired me to be the sidewalk sale like attendant. And John, the guy who owned at this point Cheap Thrills Comics, which by the way, if you know who, do you guys remember Basil Wolverton? Basil Wolverton? Does that name ring a bell?
It sounds familiar, but I don't have any.
Like this crazy artist from the '60s who did a run on Mad Magazine, did some amazing art.
Right.
But their logo is this amazing. Some of you may remember the amazing image by Basil Wolverton of the giant bug-eyed alien, like right at the window, and the woman's like, it's like a famous image that he did. You'd know it if you saw it.
Yeah.
But that was the logo for Cheap Thrills Comics, and I remember as a kid thinking that's really cool. And then like 30 years later, I was like, I was reading some Basil Wolverton comic. I'm like, that's the comic. But anyway, so John didn't like people, and so he actually, the store was very tiny. And he put up all these, they'll have like posters for the next comic that's coming out next month or whatever. He put up like a cardboard display and taped the posters to it so it completely hid him. So when he was sitting at the register, you could not see where the staff was. And he would basically hide from all his customers and read comics because he just hated interacting with people, He just wanted to read comics all day. So he hired me to do his sidewalk sales. And he put out a bunch of like cheap, 25-cent comics or whatever. And I would sit there and take customer money every so often, and basically I sat there and read comics for 4 to 6 hours or whatever. And my pay rate, you guys were banking it, man. I got $10 a day. I was paid $5 in comics and $5 in cash, and then I usually spent the $5 in cash
On more comics.
on more comics. But I basically sat there and read comics for like 4 hours, and just would take money once an hour or whatever.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
I had my first retail experience where there was a shoplifter. And I, of course, didn't even notice him because I was, like, reading comics.
Of course.
But, like, the neighboring shop owner, I forget, he sold candles or something, but he came to me and he's like, that guy's stealing your book. And, like, when you look, the guy obviously had, like, a graphic novel in his shirt. And I didn't know what to do. So he went and got John, and John talked to him. But that was the highlight of my early job experience.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that, as I've said, people ask me, how do you get involved with game design? And I say, a series of poor life decisions.
Starting with either
and that brings us here today,
a ferry, a comic book store, or like sharpening knives.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it.
Cool.
That's the ticket.
Are we supposed to talk about anything else?
I think so. Really think that here we are on Saturday. We've had how many seminars going on? We've had how many of these interviews? Like I said, unless there's any sudden stealth releases, I think we're come down. If you're watching this, if you're back in the hotel room and being smart and you're sitting in the air conditioner, you're watching this.
Yeah.
All right. Vendor exhibit hall is open till 4 tomorrow.
Yeah.
We will not have any specials, but we still have stuff we want you to buy, so we don't have to pack it up at 4 o'clock.
We might have specials. Let's see how much stuff is left.
Okay.
Shipping
right.
is so expensive now. You kind of never wanted to ship it back, but it's so expensive to ship stuff now. Like,
It
I
is.
really don't
All
want to ship
right.
it
Wow.
back
There
now.
might be specials. That's exciting. That's exciting.
There you go. The stealth announcement here. So
That is your
if
stealth
you're watching
announcement.
this, but you have friends who are here, text them, email, call them,
Yep.
let them know, come by the booth tomorrow.
And use the secret code Uncle Don. Say you want the Uncle Don
The
special.
Uncle Don special.
Yep.
Everything is 10% off. Right?
Yes. Oh boy.
Maybe it should just be 5% off.
All right. Well, it's not a funny joke unless like, why is he making 10 to be a 2? Oh, I get it. That's it.
All right, cool. Well, thanks, guys. It was
You're
a great
welcome.
interview.
It was. I'm never gonna forget it.
Cool. Come by and see us, and in real life as well as on the little square.